Welcome to the Infuse Compassion podcast, hosted by me, Amy Quisenberry.
And me, Mark Carpenter.
We are on a mission to make this world a kinder place for us all by bringing healthier human connection to communities, families, and organizations of all types and sizes.
Our goal is to create stronger relationships, more inspired teams, increased trust, and improved results.
So let's get started with more ways to infuse compassion into our world.
Hello, Compassionators, and welcome to this episode of the Infuse Compassion podcast. Thank you so much for being with us. It is our joy and pleasure to have you on our podcast as part of our podcast. And we've got a wonderful guest with us today that I am going to turn some time to Amy, my friend, to introduce to all of us. Amy, who's our guest today?
Oh my goodness. I met this incredible woman at a wonderful conference that we've heard about already a few times, the Thrive in 25. Miss Malinda Leonard, founder of Grateful Connections, a professional development community where women in business find education, inspiration, and meaningful connections. Drawing on 25 years of corporate sales experience, she now helps women entrepreneurs grow with confidence through events, networking, and opportunities that foster collaboration and competition. Currently, she has a successful career in corporate healthcare sales and also decided to follow her true passion to help women succeed in business and in life. She's built Grateful Connections as a space for women solopreneurs to learn, collaborate, and feel supported. Her work includes hosting impactful in-person events, producing the Grateful Connections, What Gratitude Built podcast, and creating programs that help women turn their passion into sustainable business growth. Malinda believes that gratitude is the foundation of growth and that every woman deserves a community cheering her on. Yes, we do. She is passionate about helping women build businesses that not only thrive financially, but also align with their values and lifestyle. Her mission is simple: to connect women, share wisdom, and inspire them to create their version of success rooted in purpose, connection, and gratitude. Malinda, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It was so amazing meeting you at the conference. And like you said, as soon as you saw my business card or however we introduced ourselves, we're like, wait, compassion and gratitude, what a great combo. So we hit it off pretty immediately at the event. And you did such a great job presenting, and getting a chance to see you speak was awesome too.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was instant, right? It was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So I want to get right into this. And I would love to hear, when I think about purposeful work like what you're doing, there was a moment, right? There was a moment where you were like, this is the work I need to do. What is the origin story of the Grateful Connections work that you do?
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, it started off, I'll be honest, like when I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. It's been driving me for so long. And ironically, I didn't even know that I had a skill. Like, I've been in sales for 25 years, and over all this time I kept thinking, what can I do to start a business? What can I do? And nothing really resonated with me as having, a strong skill to offer. But what ended up, I have a passion for photography. And as I started wanting to build a photography business, I was really thinking about what to narrow it down to. Who's my client? What do I actually enjoy? And really and truly what it comes down to is just in my soul, I'm a bit of a feminist. And I think just throughout my entire career, I've been cheering on women and love seeing women, even in a corporate environment, at an elevated position. There's so many in my corporate jobs. There's a lot of senior leadership that's typically male. And so even just in my corporate world, seeing women holding, CEO positions or president positions has always just made me feel so much joy to see them elevate their success. And so when I was working and trying to figure out my photography thing, It's like, well, what makes the most sense to me? And really and truly, if I had an opportunity to help a woman be comfortable in front of the camera and capture images that speak to their ideal client, personal branding photography made the most sense to me. Because out of all the people I tried it before, right? I tried photographing children and, pregnancies and families, and not my jam. I really love talking about business. I love sharing ideas. I love just collaborating. So it just kind of started as a photography thing. And then I just pulled out of thin air, like, well, as we all know, a lot of networking groups are limited, right, to one per category. And I just have this opinion and a very strong belief that collaboration over competition is the way to go. There's enough business for all of us. And so I started down this journey of creating a networking group that was going to be more inclusive, not just one. I don't care how many photographers come to this networking event, right? There's enough business for all of us. And we all have an opportunity to connect with who we want to work with, not just referring that one person just because they're in your networking group. So that's kind of how it started, just where I really wanted to create this community. And it's just always been in my passion, just to see other women succeeding and not feel like they're competitive to me.
I love that so much. And can I just triple underline collaboration over competition? Yes. We don't need to be in this fear mentality of, I need everything from the plate. There's enough to go around. Oh my goodness.
Well, there is. And especially, what in any business that you have, right, as a photographer or as a networking group or as a chiropractor or as, any position. And we just talked about it before the call, right? Just about, the chemistry and how fascinating it is and where chemistry lies between outside of even just that romantic place, right? So everyone wants to work with the person that makes them most comfortable. Financial planners, right? You don't want to work with someone just because they are the automatic referral. And so I feel so strongly that in a community of people, whether it's women or men, supporting each other, giving people options and truly finding the right connection for them. And I don't care how many photographers come, right? People are going to want to work with somebody else, and I'm good with that because my ideal client is going to come to me and not them. So it's definitely something I'm super passionate about.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the name of your business is Grateful Connections. Talk to me a little bit about why you went that direction. Where's the connection to gratitude with these connections that you're making to support women solopreneurs, women entrepreneurs as they grow their business?
Yeah, I love that question because it was a journey. So I started again, I'm not usually the most creative person in the world. So I'm very logical and like planned out, and I just think about things conceptually and just, I'm not very creative. So what started was the name that I started my mission under was Empowering Women, because that's just like, it's so literal to me, so Empowering Women was my photography business. And I was, going to empower women through their business photos. And then I went into this Empowering Women of Lake County, which is where I live. And I'm like, I'm just going to pull this out of thin air. And like, I really wanted to elevate women business owners. And so my original platform was built on the mission, on the notion that knowledge is power. And how can I empower women by educating them? And so I would have a platform, like a panel discussion of women in a certain care area, and I would utilize their knowledge to educate those of us in the audience. And so that all started, and everything was going great. Took a little hiatus to kind of think things through a little bit more, because originally, like I said, thought out of thin air, like throwing, the spaghetti against the wall concept. And we all know that marketing to everyone is marketing to no one. And so when I was revamping this, because at first I'm like, all women, like, let's just all get together, which was fun, but it was hard to monetize. And so I thought, well, how can I create something that's a little bit more specific? So then I went through this whole rebranding process, and I was stuck on the word connections. And I was like trying to find a word that worked with it. So in just normal language, I was like, oh, I really want to build an area where women have true connections. And so I was stuck on that for a while. The URLs wouldn't work. Everything was kind of taken. And so, and I still have it up here. I'm literally sitting at my desk like this, looking at my vision board, and I'm looking at the vision board. I'm like, I know the words are in here. I know they're in here. And sure enough, gratitude and gratefulness and all these things that were living on my vision board, I was like, grateful connections? Yes, please. And then sure enough, I open it up and all the URLs are available. So there was no there was no hyphen, there was no, I didn't have to get creative. And gratefulconnections.com just in its, in entirety was available. And then I, of course, bought the .org, the .net, like everything. So I'm like, I don't want anybody else on my trail. And just in that process, it just was literally, my heart literally just exploded, because in reality, as I started in this journey of trying to network and meet other women to photograph, I mean, I'm a relationship person very deeply. Like, that is my zone of genius. It's the thing that I think I do really, really well, because I am genuinely authentic and I really love getting to know people at a deeper level. Whole nother reason why I wanted to create this community, because I feel so strongly like you go to a networking group and you exchange a business card and you get 5 seconds, 30 seconds to give your pitch. Well, there's so much more to know about these people you're connecting with and want to collaborate with, and who you want to share business ideas with or whatever. And so just great gratitude in itself, and the connections that I'd already made. I legitimately was so grateful for every person I've met along this journey, including Amy. And so it's just, I don't know, I'm just literally so grateful for the people I've met, and grateful connections jumped off at me, and it just felt so very right. So very right.
I love that. I love that. And it's amazing in your story, the way you talk about it was right there in front of you.
Right?
And sometimes we go seeking elsewhere for the answers. But as soon
Yeah.
as you zoomed in and you're
Yeah.
like, I have this vision board in front of me. It's right here. Like
It's got to be on there.
You
Yeah.
got quiet, you got still. I love that. I love that in your story.
Thank you. Thank you. It was, because it felt so right. And literally, like, my coach will laugh about it too, because I was working with a business coach, and when she was the speaker at my first launch event here, and so she'll always tell the story. She's like, I just remember when Malinda called, it was like, so it was like this big light up in my heart where I couldn't even wait to tell her. And I couldn't wait to start telling people, like, I know the name. It's literally, just being so grateful for the connections I've made. It just, yeah, it fit, and it just lit me up. So I knew it was the right move.
So I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about Grateful Connections. I want, first of all, your mission, your vision, the work that you do, it is so important. And this is very close to my heart, because you know the work that I do, right?
Yeah.
And this is really needed. So I want you to take a minute and talk to the women out there that are like, hey, I've got something amazing, but what
do we do with it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk to that woman.
Sure. So I feel, as a photographer, I've had this happen. I used to work with a guy, my friend Chris, and I helped him build a company. It was a photography conference company. And every time we would, I've been exposed to hundreds of photographers, people who were passionate hobbyists and professionals. And we would always, be working on these conferences together. And so many people would say, you're so lucky. I wish I had a Malinda. I wish I had a Malinda. I wish I had a Malinda. And to me, that was just really meant that they didn't want to build their business alone. They wanted someone who was a team member, someone to help them, someone to have bounce ideas off of. And I would always just say to them, well, as much as I would love to help you, you can't really afford me. Like, I was helping him build his business as a way, hopefully, out of my corporate career, which never happened, obviously. But, all these people were saying, like, I could use the help. And it really occurred to me as I've been going through this whole journey on my own, where so many, and I'm going to say women, even though it includes men, but my passion is helping women. So many women start their job or their business because they're passionate about their thing, right? So you're passionate about wanting to be the best dermatologist, the best, I work with a woman who's an amazing acupuncturist and, chiropractor, or a photographer, or a financial planner, right? You are passionate about the thing that you start your business on. But so many people don't come from a business background. And so if you come from an area just out of your passion, which is amazing, because that's what lights us up and that's what helps us keep motivated to grow our business. A lot of people don't even know where to start. And so for me, I take that to heart where I think, well, if you're passionate about your thing, the world needs to hear about it. You need to be confident about how you put it out to the world. I want to help you come up with these resources. And I really want you to feel like you're not building your business alone. And that is what I keep hearing from the solopreneur, the women who are trying to build their business on their own. Well, what if I could provide you a community of women supporting women, education that surrounds how to build your business? I just did a workshop with a close colleague and friend of mine, Barb Provost, at the company that she runs called Purse Strings. And Purse Strings is all about educating women about finances, because we as women a lot of times aren't taught that, and we aren't just, people don't talk to us as though we're knowledgeable and all that, right? So her mission is to educate women financially. So together we had a workshop that was phenomenal. And this is the kind of stuff I just want to keep building and building and building. So we had a banker, we had a lawyer, we had a bookkeeper, and an insurance agent. And the concept was starting your foundation, making sure that foundation of your business is strong, because without your foundations being strong, obviously there could be crumbling and your business could crash without even knowing why. And so this was just an educational workshop where the lawyer talked about, what is the proper setup for your business. And then we talked about banking and getting access to funding and what do you need. I mean, one thing I learned, which was crazy, I have phenomenal personal credit, and I wasn't able to get a business credit card through my bank. They declined me. And I'm like, I've never been declined on a credit card before, but whatever. So just in this conversation with this banker, I learned, interestingly enough, that the business credit card that I got from American Express wasn't recording to like the credit bureaus. Like they don't actually turn in this information. So I thought I was like, thank God I finally got a business credit card, but it's not, the credit isn't being allocated to my business. And so now I reached back out to this banker and I said, well, can we work on getting a credit card together? Because I want a credit card that will actually, build my business credit. So I learned something totally that I would have never even known. And then we had a bookkeeper who was talking about your statements and the reports and how to look at your finances in a way that you can start allocating, like, am I going out to eat too much? Am I, spending too much money on this or that? And then we had an insurance agent who was really educating us about what do we need to cover our businesses? Is it liability? There was a whole topic or an insurance category I never even heard of, errors and omissions, which is really important for someone who is legal or a counselor or somebody who's managing finances, right? Like knowing that I didn't intentionally screw you by leaving out this information. So and then even just talking about how you can find insurance on a group plan, even with just a handful of people. So it was really, really amazing to me to just get some of these bits and pieces of information that I think really allow your business to, understand if you're in the right location, if you've done the right things. So it's education like that I want to continue to help you as a business owner with. And I'm an excellent connector. Like it's literally my favorite thing in the world. My heart is insanely happy when you tell me I'm really looking for this person and I look at my network and I'm like, oh my gosh, you two need to connect. So, the Grateful Connections is more than education. It's more than networking, but it's really a place where we can look for ways to collaborate with each other and grow our businesses.
Wow. That is everything that you said is so powerful. And, again, I'm going to triple underline. You said earlier, knowledge is power, right? And then you gave a perfect example of how you created a forum and brought that to these women who, listen, folks, if you're not following Malinda, if you're not connected right now, do it. Do it.
I love it. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Mark, I know you've got questions. Get in here.
There's so many questions, so little time, just like always.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Malinda, if you were to speak directly to a woman who has this passion, who has an idea, and who wants to get out there, but there's something that's holding her back, how would you help her overcome those maybe fears or objections. You probably know what the objections are better than anybody because of the network that you have. How would you
Yeah.
help those women to overcome those objections so they can get their passion, their goodness, and their value out into the world?
I love that so much because I had, as I mentioned a little earlier, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know what it was. And I kept, this is what I tell my daughter all the time. I feel like keep like your passion, your excitement, this dream, this thing that you have is so easy to leave it as a fantasy because that's safe. You won't lose money. You won't lose like your confidence. You won't lose anything by leaving it as a fantasy because it's just this big dream and I wish I could, or I thought about this, but you have a million reasons not to do it. And so I always say to my daughter, like, bringing, like, pulling the actual fantasy or the concept out of a fantasy and put it into reality is scary. But the only way that you're ever going to accomplish the thing that makes your heart happy is to, first of all, try. And second of all, who cares if you fail? Like, to me, I mean, I've already thought about so many different ways that I need to pivot or add or change or think about the way that I want to move Grateful Connections forward. And I will say one of the best books that I read, and a friend of mine, colleague, told me about it. It's called The Power of One More by Ed Milet. I don't know if you've heard of it, but he's a fantastic motivational speaker. And in this book, it's actually part of the story about how I came to this connection or like the networking community is when I was talking to my colleague and friend who recommended the book, he was talking about these different aspects. And when he said the word community, it was like my heart, I literally felt like the stab in my heart. That's like, this is what I'm missing. Like I am missing a sense of community because I'm an extrovert to the nth degree. And so working from home had been stifling and I didn't know why. And so this Power of One More book is really about just that, right? The people who are successful are the ones who make one more phone call, who try one more pivot, who try asking one more client for business. Like if you're always looking for the one more, then it's okay to like have a little bit of failure because it's really how you learn and how you find out exactly what's next. So to me, it's definitely about taking that fantasy and what have you got to lose? Sure, you have a little bit of maybe you're scared about putting yourself out there. And I've gone through a huge transition on that myself. Like I'm not one who likes to be the center of attention. And so I even had to like really hit this with my own reality check. Well, if I can't handle the accolades and if I can't handle a spotlight on myself, and I'm going to shrivel down and say, well, this community is not about me because that's really how I feel. This is really about the women I want to serve. But the reality hit me like somebody was giving me kudos and I could feel my face just like revving up with redness as I was so embarrassed. And then I literally had this reality check. Well, how am I going to empower and help women to be the best versions of themselves if I don't accept it on my own, right? So to me, it's just about, you know what, if you fail, who cares? You just move on and you pivot. You try that power of one more. You do the one more thing, and eventually you figure it out. So to me, it's just about being okay with a little bit of failure and pivoting because that's how no business is like this straight line to 1,000,000% success without hitting road bumps and things like that. So
I really want to acknowledge something because what I've heard in your share over and over again is how much work that you've done,
yeah,
right? And one of the things I always like to say is before we put ourselves out there or as we're putting ourselves out there, for us to really be real and authentic and vulnerable, which people will see it, they'll feel it, they know it if you're not.
yes,
They know it if you're
yes,
not. You've got to do the work. You've
yes.
got to do the work. And you have done there's so much self reflection that you've done in your story. And I love that you've brought that here. I love that you've
Thank
shared
you.
that with everybody because that's so central to just our evolution as a human being, but also not just having this fantasy, as you say, this vision, this dream, but living it, bringing it into the
You have to
world.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
totally. Well, I think there was something you just said about oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my train of thought. You can continue. There was something I thought of, but now I'm blanking on what it was that you said from the beginning, but I'll come back to it.
I'm trying to think. How can I help you?
Yeah, you might be able to delete this part.
No.
But there's something you were saying.
Okay, it's all right. It's fine. People,
Yeah.
listen, people, what you're doing is just really human. Like, how many times do we lose our train of thought, right? I mean, it happens all the time. How many times do you leave the room to go get something and you're like, wait a second, wait.
And as soon
then
as you go
put
back,
yourself back in the room and you're like, oh, that's right. So
is exactly it. Yeah, it was definitely along the lines of like doing the work, but yeah, I can't remember. We can continue your other questions.
All right. Well, so what I'd love to do is I'd love, Malinda, for you to share pardon me, how can people find you?
Awesome. Well, my website is gratefulconnections.com. Super simple. Like I said, we didn't have to do any of the weird add-ons. I do have a private Facebook group, and that you can actually look at is just Googling or looking at on Facebook, looking for Grateful Connections. On Instagram, it's Grateful Connections _CO for community. Yeah, so connect with me there. And, right now, a lot of my events have been in person and local. However, I am in the process of starting that community online. So eventually we'll be able to be offering virtual trainings and networking and communication as well. So that's still in the process of being built. But the actual community learning, getting on the Facebook group is still an opportunity to connect with other women.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I was going to get to our last one. I just wanted to say, Malinda, thank you for the work that you're doing
to start thank you.
With. And thank you for being with us in our time. We always ask our guest this final question. And I'm going to have to focus it just a little bit. Focus it on the people that you talk to. Okay. Focus it on those women entrepreneurs. Because I think we get so busy in entrepreneurship that we sometimes forget to infuse compassion into our lives. We're just focused on the business side of things. So how can we infuse compassion into our lives? And you can focus that again onto those women entrepreneurs. What's one tip that you would give those women entrepreneurs to infuse compassion into their lives?
Well, I mean, honestly, even from the first time you even mentioned this to now, I had a totally different answer, which I love because the way you spun it, right? I think the biggest tidbit that I would give is to give compassion to yourself going through the challenges of questioning yourself and wondering, did I do the right thing? Or am I going about this the right way? And I think especially as women, I don't know, Mark, you might have something different to say about that, but we're always so much more compassionate and better listeners and happy to help other people than a lot of times than we are to our own selves. And so to me, I think that as you're growing a business and as you are going through those pivots and those changes and giving yourself the compassion to know that you're on the right track, that you're doing it for the right reasons. And because of that, the success will eventually come. I mean, I'm living that to myself right now. So I think that is the best way to think about compassion.
Wow.
Thank you. I love that.
It's so true, and it's so important. And I loved the way you phrased it, Mark, because you're right. 3 of us here, right? And we can so often get lost. And it's not, sometimes it just, I like a precious stuffed animal under a pile of covers, like that's lit like a pile of blankets, and there's this precious, which I have dogs, right? And so like the little toys
things get buried all the time,
and then it's like, where's the baby? Well, that's their stuffed animal, right? Where's the baby? Oh, the baby's under the covers. We remove those blankets. We're important too.
Yes.
Go find that. I love that.
Yeah, it's so true. It's buried in there somewhere, right? We just have to dig in and find it. And yeah, I mean, I love what you guys are doing too. I mean, compassion is just missing in a lot of components of the world right now, and it literally is just such an important message, because we can, I simply live by the passion of like, why can't we just all get along? I just don't understand why everything has to be so difficult and judgmental and all those things. So I love the mission that you're putting out there as well. It's very important.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Oh, you have been a joy, an absolute joy. We really appreciate you spending your time with us and sharing your message. Mark, I can see you're wanting to add something.
Nope, I was just going to wrap it up to say thanks to Malinda and to all of our listeners.
Yeah.
And go out there and live your dreams. Yeah. Go out there and take those steps. And if you need help with that, give Malinda a call. And come back and join us next week as Amy and I share our thoughts about what we learned from Malinda. And go out and infuse compassion into the world. Thank you for being with us. Join us next time on Infuse Compassion.
Bye. Amazing. I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Infuse Compassion podcast. If you enjoyed the conversation, please share a review and like the podcast so other compassionators can join us. Until next time, let's all do something each day to infuse compassion into the world. For more information on our guests, see the show notes. For more information on Mark and Amy, go to infusecompassion.com.